The fall of Leo Sterling. Leo Sterling had it all. The adoring fans, the platinum album, the endorsement deals, and the life that most people only dream of. He was the reigning pop star of the decade. His songs were always on the radio. His concerts sold out within minutes, and the tabloids couldn't get enough of his latest glamorous escapades. Every day was a whirlwind of luxury. Designer suits, fancy cars, private jets, and exotic vacations. If it glittered, Leo had a tan then some. At the peak of his fame, Leo was living in a mansion in Beverly Hills that could only be described as a palace. His closet was a showroom of the finest clothes, shoes, and accessories. He had a personal chef who whipped up gourmet meals, a fleet of cars that gleamed under the California sun, and even an art collection that would make any museum envious. But as the saying goes, the higher you fly, the harder you fall. It all started with the impulse buy. One afternoon, Leo was scrolling through his social media feed when he stumbled upon a post from a luxury yacht company. The yacht was magnificent, an entire floating city, complete with a pool, cinema room, and even a helipad. Leo clicked on the link, joking to himself, "What if I bought this? I could host the most extravagant party ever." In less than an hour, Leo had signed the contract for a yacht worth $15 million. It was an impulsive decision, but it wasn't the first time Leo had made purchases on a whim. He had always lived with the belief that money was infinite, that as long as he had his voice and his fame, the world would keep throwing money at him. And that was the problem. At first, the yacht was the talk of every celebrity party. Leo hosted incredible, over-the-top gatherings on the deck, complete with live bands, fireworks, and champagne that flowed like a river. But what the public didn't know was that each party came with a price. The maintenance costs for the yacht alone were astronomical. And while Leo made millions from his music and endorsement deals, his spending habits were growing out of control. Soon after, Leo decided to add another car to his collection. This time, a custom-built Bugatti worth nearly $5 million. It didn't stop there. He redecorated his mansion every month, changing the interiors to stay on trend. He even bought a private jet, because why not? The world was his oyster, after all. But what he didn't realize was that his income wasn't enough to keep up with his ever-growing list of expenses. The first sign of trouble came during a quiet afternoon. Leo sat in his mansion's living room, surrounded by stacks of unopened bills. His manager had warned him for months about his spending habits, but Leo had brushed it off. "I'll make more money. I always do," he'd said, shrugging off the warnings. But today, something felt different. The weight of the bills was unbearable. Leo picked up the phone and called his financial advisor. "Rob. Rob, something's wrong. Can you go over the books again?" Leo asked, his voice sounding uncertain for the first time in years. Rob's voice was calm but serious. "Leo, we need to talk. Your spending has far outpaced your income. The yacht, the cars, the renovation sites all draining your savings. You're not in the same financial position you were even 2 years ago." Leo felt a cold chill run through him. "What do you mean?" "Leo, your assets are no longer enough to cover your liabilities. You're about to run out of cash." Leo froze. "What do you want me to do about it?" "There's nothing much left to do, Leo. You need to start cutting back fast." The next few months were a whirlwind of bad news. Leo tried to sell off the yacht, but the market for luxury yachts had tanked. He put his Bugatti up for auction, but it barely fetched a fraction of what he paid for it. His mansion's value dropped as well, and it seemed that the more he tried to sell off his assets, the less money he received. His music career was still successful, but it couldn't keep up with the financial hole he had dug himself into. The endorsement deals, once a steady source of income, started drying up. The brands he had worked with were now questioning his financial stability, and some even backed out of contracts. The paparazzi, once chasing him for his glamorous lifestyle, now focused on his rapid downfall. Leo's life began to unravel. The lavish parties stopped. The constant stream of yes-men and sycophants who had once surrounded him faded away. The weight of his financial ruin became a constant presence. He had to let go of his mansion and move into a modest apartment. The yacht, the cars, the jet, those symbols of wealth and success were gone. All he had left were the bills, the looming debt, and the constant reminder of how quickly everything had slipped away. It was then that Leo realized the true cost of his lavish lifestyle. He had spent years living for the spotlight, ignoring the reality of financial responsibility. The fame that had once seemed endless now felt like a distant memory, as if it had all been a dream. The parties, the luxury, the praise, it was all just a fleeting moment. But there was a turning point. After a particularly hard week, Leo sat alone in his apartment, staring at his reflection in the window. He looked out over the city once his playground, now a reminder of his downfall. But instead of despair, something shifted within him. I can't stay like this, Leo whispered to himself. I need to change. And so he did. The path to recovery wasn't easy. Leo cut all his unnecessary expenses, stopped trying to live up to the standards of his past, and started focusing on the things that truly mattered. He began working on new music, something more personal, something that resonated with his real self. His fan base, which had once worshipped him for his extravagant lifestyle, now admired his honesty and vulnerability. He sold his remaining luxury items, paying down his debts as quickly as possible. While the world no longer saw him as the untouchable celebrity, Leo found peace in the quiet moments, whether it was writing a song in his small apartment or volunteering at local charities. He reconnected with the simple joys of life. Years later, Leo sat on a park bench, a far cry from the world of extravagance he once inhabited. He had rebuilt his career, but now it was based on a new foundation: authenticity and understanding. He wasn't the pop star of his past, but he had found a new type of success. He had learned the hard way that fame, fortune, and luxury could vanish in an instant. But what truly mattered was staying grounded, no matter how high you once soared. The end.